everybody. Welcome to the Money Discussion for week number 6. And this is going back to 2,000 years ago and looking at both the Roman Empire and Han China. Two pillars, two massive empires on both sides of the Silk Road, both sides of Asia. So on the east, you have this presence of the Han China that really controlled everything on that part of the world. Everybody knew Han China. And on the west, in the Mediterranean, everybody knew the Roman Empire. Everyone, as far as the sun could set on both sides, as far as each empire was concerned, was their presence. However, they didn't know each other very well. Their goods made it across, but very little presence between the two interaction, which is a very interesting thing. This discussion is going to compare both these empires, both together in their own right and also together of what the similarities and differences are. We're going to look at gender. We're going to look at what stuff you learned this week, what you think is most important, and you're going to back all that up with examples. So be sure when you finish this, it's not just a sentence, a good strong paragraph. There's no right or wrong answer with these. Really, what's wrong is if you have no examples, right? So giving examples, giving your view, backing it up with examples from this week's material will assure a good grade. All right. Also remember to comment. That's 5 points, but also it's really going to help you construct and see even clearer some of these answers, because you can answer these in so many different ways. And by looking at other people's discussions will help you see the difference, perhaps, that you never looked at it that way. You can always go back to your question. You can always edit it and say, you know what? Mary Smith said something that was really good. I agree or I disagree, and I want to add to that on this question. That's awesome. Feel free to do that. But however this is, have fun with it, and be sure, bring in examples. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to go through each of the questions and give some specifics so if you're lost, if you're not quite sure how to answer it, check out the rest of this video. If you're good to go, press stop, and good luck with it. Go back through the material and maybe make some notes of some examples that you would use for each of the questions, and rock it. So without further, we're going to continue on, and I'm going to now go through each of the questions. So if you're watching this, here we go. So part 1 has 5 questions. First question is comparison. So you read about, you saw throughout the week information to Pax Romana, the Roman peace. You saw Rome was controlling the Mediterranean world, right? And it doesn't matter if you were a trader, you could travel across and you could feel pretty safe that you were protected under Rome. The language was there. Everyone spoke Latin. Even in Greece, you'd speak Greek. You might speak, if you're Jewish in the area, you might speak Hebrew, but you also knew Latin. And that was a huge presence. If you were a Roman citizen, you were safe, you could travel. That was a big thing. On Han China, they had a similar thing called the Golden Age. It was a golden age for China. People were able to travel. There was goods being able to be distributed across the Silk Road safely under the protection of China. And then when it got to the west, under protection of Rome, there was a lot of stuff that was happening. In question number 1, I want you to look at what are the similarities between these two massive empires and what are the differences. So, look at the ideas of what makes them successful. Maybe there's similarities with what makes them peaceful, what makes them prosperous empires, or what makes them, going back to core and periphery, maybe like how they interact with their core and how the presence of the core has on its periphery. There's lots of ways to answer this, but be sure to bring in examples and you'll rock that question. So be sure to make very clear the similarities and differences between Han China and the Pax Romana, ancient Rome. Now for number 2. Number 2 is building off that, based on all that stuff, looking at the different themes of religious perspectives in there, looking at political communities, looking at change in trade networks, the relationship again about the core and periphery, production distribution, how things are interacting. What is the most important? So number 2 is you choosing what's the most important aspect that makes these empires what they are. If you were to look at one thing, what would be the most important thing? And use examples. All right, so it's one thing to say, yeah, I think trade's the most important thing. If you end there, I will cry. Be sure to bring in examples of why. If you were a trader in one area and you could see, or on the page here, or in this part of the reading, or in this video, it's really easy to see that this is the important thing. This is what shows that Rome was peaceful, or that it wasn't, or that it was their power was in this. Whatever you want to say. I'm excited because there's so many ways to take this question. But again, examples is going to rock this question. All right, so that's number 2. And it's largely based on your perspective, but you're using examples. Number 3. Number 3 is looking at both material of the week and skimming the reading. There's 2 chapters in this reading, so I don't expect you to just take notes and read every word by word, but to skim it and get the gist and get some information. But number 3 is looking at gender. What does the material this week say about gender? What does it say about women, both in Rome? I did a whole section on this, so there's a page about this, so maybe you just focus on that even. What does it say in Rome? What does it say in Han China about women? Now, the reverse of that is what's missing. What elements of society are left out? Yes, we talked about women, but what are other parts? You know, gender is an important thing and often left out in history books, so I wanted to make sure to bring that in. But think about it. What are some other parts of the society, of life, that is not talked about? There's no right or wrong answer here, but for you to give examples of what is silenced in this, all right? So first off, you're going to talk about gender. Second off, you're going to talk about, really, I didn't see much about an X, Y, and Z, and put that in there. All right, so that's what number 3 is all about. What role of women? There's a page about that. And number 2, looking at the same question, but what's been left out? Do we really know all aspects of women? What about slave women? What about women on the periphery? Or what about just people on the periphery in general who aren't Roman citizens or part of Han China? Yeah, so something to think about in number 3. Again, just put in examples in your rocket. Number 4. Now, this is where it's fun. This is where it becomes personal. Now you know everything about Rome. You know everything about Han China. Now you have a time machine. You go back in time. Which one do you go to? You have a choice of going to Rome or Han China. Which one do you take? And why do you choose that one? So which one would you rather live in and why? Based on what you've learned, which society, and use examples of which one is the better choice to live in. Would it be ancient Rome? Or would it be in Han China? Is there a specific group you hope when you get there that you would want to make sure you're part of? So, you know, if you go to Rome, do you really want to be in Rome as, you know, as a slave? I don't think so. So be specific of, if you are choosing Rome or if you are choosing Han China, which social group also are you going to make sure you're part of if you go back in time? And how was, you know, why do you choose that one? That's going to help solidify some of these differences, comparisons of Rome and China. So that's for number 4. All right. Number 5, and the last one is, of course, a very fun, reflective one. Thoughts of the week. How did this week go? There's a lot of stuff in the textbook, but I really wanted you to get into the modules. Did that flow well for you? It's a heck of a lot of work. I know that. But remember, this is 8 weeks, whereas normally it's a 16-week class. So I think you did pretty good. We were able to condense down 2 empires. I mean, we really looked at Rome, which normally takes 2-3 weeks. I've done a Rome class in 16, 17 weeks and didn't even feel like I got enough. Same with Han China, you know, but you were able to get a good amount of it into, but how did that go? How did you feel about this week? What did you learn the most? What did you like the most? What did you dislike the most? This is a reflective time for you. You know, looking back at the last discussion, and now, is there some things that clicked that might have not clicked before? This is a good time to kind of just take a step back. How did it go? What have you learned that you liked? What would you like to learn more of? Is there something you're going to on your own time now that did it pique an interest and you want some more information? Let me know that way. That this could be all about you. All right. And that finishes that section up. So we've looked at Han China. And that we're going to look at through comparison views of Rome. But all that's going to have examples. And the final one is going to be your reflection. And that's going to finish it up. Now, please don't stop there. Be sure before the Wednesday to do the comments. All right. So if anything, That's where a lot of people miss the points, and it makes me so sad, because also I really want to reward people to look at your answers by commenting, by responding to you, and I want you to see what other people are saying and to value and learn from them of how they're answering it in such a different way. And as I said, you can always go back and edit your response and bring in some more material based on what you've learned, and just credit that. I love that. That's going to get a 20 out of 20 if you do those sort of things. And if you miss the responses, the best you can get is a 15 out of 20, and it hurts me every time I see that. So do the comments, do all 5 questions, bring in examples, and rock the comments, rock the discussion, and have a great, and finish the week strong. All right, have fun with this one. Hope you enjoyed Rome. Hope you enjoyed Han China. And let's get on to the heirs of Rome and what happens after the Roman Empire next week. All right, finish this discussion. Good luck.